Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Wednesday, 18 February. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Ukraine has recaptured 201 square kilometres in counterattacks. Trilateral talks between Russia, Ukraine and the US were conducted yesterday in Geneva, and Macron has urged India to back a memorandum on strikes against Ukrainian civilians. So firstly, Ukrainian forces recaptured 201 square kilometres, or 78 square miles, from Russia between Wednesday and Sunday last week, taking advantage of the shutdown from the Starlink for Russian troops, according to data from the Institute of Study of War. The recaptured land is concentrated around 80 kilometres east of Zaporizhzhia, where Russian troops had made significant progress since the summer of 2025. ISW said that these Ukrainian counterattacks likely leverage the recent block of Russian forces' access to Starlink, which Russian military bloggers have claimed is causing communications, command and control issues on the battlefield. On February the 5th, military observers noted that Starlink antennas used by Moscow on the front lines had been turned off after Elon Musk announced measures to end the Kremlin's use of the technology. The recaptured area is nearly equal to the amount of land gained by Russian forces in December and is the largest amount of land retaken since June 2023. So what? I talked about this in last night's post, but it kind of shows how important, well, it doesn't kind of, it definitely shows how important communications are in the modern battlefield. It'll be interesting to see how Russia builds up their communications from here. And they're likely going to be more prone to jamming, as they're not going to be the same frequency or the same means as is being used by Ukraine, allowing them to ideally jam the communications, which could be beneficial on the battlefield for Ukraine and limit Russian offensive action. And also, I just wanted to highlight that, this is likely to be a pretty limited counteroffensive operation, and it's unlikely to lead to a full collapse of the Russian front. So I wouldn't get your hopes up there. It's likely focused around areas that were less protected and less secured than other regions due to their recent capture. So I might make a video on these counteroffensive over on the HM Intelligence YouTube page. So go give that a subscribe. And next, trilateral talks between Russia, Ukraine, and the US on the possible settlement in Ukraine have started in Geneva, according to, or they're now ended, to the head of the Ukrainian and Russian delegations. Security and humanitarian issues are on the agenda, they wrote on X, and they're working constructively focused and without excessive expectations. Our task is to maximize advance of the solutions that can be sustained and bring peace closer. So what? So these negotiations have now finished, and they're reportedly very tense. Apparently, the UK and France also showed up uninvited to support Ukraine in not getting strong-armed by the US into agreeing to something that they didn't really want to agree to. And as I covered in my video last weekend talking about Estonia's intelligence assessment, and also previously, the key issues haven't changed here. Russia still wants territory and Ukraine still wants security guarantees. Neither side has agreed to give the other what they want without getting what they want. So we're at a stalemate, and my assessment is that this is what Russia wants. Russia wants to continue their war in this prolonged stalemate of a peace negotiation, because it keeps the US on their side to a degree. It puts the onus on Ukraine somehow to kind of accept Russian peace terms, and it gives Trump and more pro-Russian US politicians the ability to blame Ukraine for not agreeing to the peace agreements. But yeah, without strong security guarantees, I don't think it's a good idea. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And lastly, French President Emmanuel Macron urged India to back a call for Russia to stop strikes on civilian infrastructure after meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Mumbai. Macron said, speaking alongside Modi, as the ceasefire remains difficult to achieve, I regret that we could not join our efforts to secure the establishment of an immediate and lasting memorandum on strikes against civilians and civilian infrastructure. Modi said that India would continue to advocate for peaceful solutions in the ongoing conflict in Western Asia and Eastern Europe. So what? This is basically no change from India, and they're aggressively maintaining their neutral stance. They're likely still trying to profit from this conflict, possibly selling things to either side. And this is especially important if their deals with the US fall over and the US increases tariffs against them. It's likely that India will return to buying Russian oil almost instantly, as it was extremely profitable for them and a great way to get cheap fuel. No real change from India on this point, and it seems unlikely they're going to anytime soon. So I don't know. Good on France for trying to pressure them, but no change. Anyway, that's been the Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.